In 1908, the American Child Protection Council hired photographer Louis Hine to investigate and document the exploitative working conditions endured by underage laborers across the United States. Hine embarked on a journey that took him to various locations, where he interviewed thousands of children and captured their harsh realities through photographs. Among the places he visited was Eastport, a small town in the state of Maine known as the birthplace of the American sardine industry. In Eastport, Hine encountered numerous children employed in the sardine factories, where they were exploited as a source of cheap labor. The resulting series of photographs depicted the grim and often lurid conditions in which these young workers found themselves. Hine's work shed light on the issue of child labor and played a significant role in advocating for labor reforms and protections for children in the United States. In the sardine factories of Eastport, the children employed as cutters would earn a mere $1.50 for a day's work of filleting the freshly caught fish. Their main responsibility was to chop off the heads and tails of the sardines and pass them on to be canned, packed, and shipped. The work environment inside the factories was incredibly demanding. The children had to work with speed while also being cautious not to accidentally include a part of their finger along with the sardines, a challenging balance to maintain. The hours were long, stretching until all the fish had been packed. With minimal automation in place, each can of sardines required multiple handling by workers before it was finally ready for the market. Working in cramped and slippery conditions, often wielding sharp knives, the children faced a high risk of accidents. Incentivized to process as many sardines as possible within a short time, they frequently suffered painful cuts. Hine's photographs captured the true weight of these conditions on the children's shoulders, showing their sad and expressionless faces, as well as their wounded hands. The images taken by Hine proved to be a powerful tool for the American Child Protection Council. They provided a truthful depiction of the harsh reality faced by these young workers and served as compelling evidence in their fight for change. Eventually, the council successfully used these images to advocate for and pass a new law that prohibited children from working in factories, protecting them from such exploitative and hazardous conditions. In 1833, Eastport held the distinction of being the second largest trading port in the United States, second only to New York City. The local economy revolved around farming, with hay and potato production being prominent. Additionally, the town boasted several industries, including a grain mill, box factory, and carding mill. However, Eastport's primary focus was on the sea. Thanks to its deep harbor and the tides reaching approximately 25 feet, 7.6 meters, the port remained ice-free throughout the year. Around 1875, the first sardine factory was established in Eastport, marking the beginning of a thriving sardine fishery and canning industry. By the late 19th century, numerous canning businesses lined the shoreline, leading to a population increase. By 1886, Eastport housed 13 sardine factories that operated around the clock during the fishing season, producing approximately 5,000 cases of sardines per week. Around 800 men, women, and children found employment in these plants. The growing significance of the fishing industry prompted the incorporation of Eastport as a city on March 18, 1893. Unfortunately, the fishing industry would later experience a decline, leading to an exodus of residents. The city faced financial hardship and ultimately went bankrupt in 1937. Children in rural areas also faced challenging working conditions. Harvesting crops under extreme temperatures for long hours was deemed normal for these young individuals. In comparison to factory work, agricultural labor typically faced fewer regulations. Child labor laws took many years to be established in the United States. By 1899, 28 states had implemented laws to regulate child labor. Multiple attempts were made to pass a national child labor law, with the U.S. Congress passing two such laws in 1918 and 1922. However, both were later declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. In 1924, Congress proposed a constitutional amendment that sought to prohibit child labor, but it was not ratified by the states. Finally, in 1938, Congress passed the Fair Labor Standards Act, which set standards for minimum wage, maximum working hours, and regulated child labor practices.